Hi everyone, my name is Miss Emily and I'm here today to do some Cooking Matters for Kids lessons with you. Some of you have had me before, or you saw me maybe 1, 2, or 3 times, and then we had to go home and not have classes in school anymore. I hope that you're having fun at home and you're able to do your schoolwork and learning all kinds of new things. It's a great time to learn more about cooking, a great time to learn more about being a great person, and also getting all of that schoolwork done. So, if you don't know me, or you're seeing me for the first time, what I do in my classes is I teach about cooking and eating healthy. And in this series of classes, my job is going to be to teach you a short 5 or 6 minute lesson, something new that you can tell your family about. And then we're gonna cook together. So what you can do is you can watch my cooking tutorial, and then maybe you can try cooking something with your family later on in the day, or that night, or next week, whenever you want. So remember, you'll be learning something new, and then you'll be applying that new skill when I teach you how to make a recipe. Who's ready to get started? The first thing that I'd like to teach you about, or review with you, is MyPlate. Give me a thumbs up if you've seen this before. If you've seen me before, you've definitely seen MyPlate before. So MyPlate has 5 food groups. Let's say them together. Fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. We have some key messages. The first key message is we should be getting tons of fruits and vegetables. Actually, enough fruits and vegetables to fill half of the plate you're eating off of. So close your eyes for a second and think back to the last meal you ate. Was it half fruits and vegetables? Give yourself a thumbs up if it was. Give yourself a thumbs to the side if you did pretty good. Maybe you can add a few more next time. And give yourself a thumbs down for, I'm glad Miss Emily just reminded me to do that because I had forgotten. Just like fruits and vegetables, whole grains can give you fiber to help keep your belly full, and lots of vitamins and minerals to keep you strong, active, healthy, and all of the great things that we want to be. Whole grains are things like what? Oatmeal, brown rice, whole wheat pasta, quinoa, popcorn. There's a lot of whole grains out there. And remember, they'll help keep you full and they're really good for your heart. Let's talk about protein. Can you think of some of your favorite proteins? Eggs, chicken, fish, steak, peanut butter, walnuts, tofu. All of these things are fantastic protein items. Protein helps build strong muscles and is also the building block of your body. Your body is made from protein. So make sure you're getting really good healthy protein and varying the protein you're eating. That means don't always eat a hamburger every night of the week. Try to mix it up and have eggs and chicken and nuts and seeds, maybe even tofu if you like that. Let's chat about dairy. Dairy is our group up here. Can you think of something that is a dairy product? Well, I'll give you a hint. If you're getting school lunches right now, it comes in a little carton. Of course, it's milk. But there's different types of milk. We have skim milk, we have whole milk, we have white milk, we have chocolate milk, we even have strawberry milk. So, what do you think about chocolate milk and strawberry milk? What do those milks have that white milk does not? Sugar, and a lot of it. So, I'd like you to really make sure you're watching the amount of sugar you're getting through your dairy products. That includes yogurts and ice cream and other things like that. Also make sure you're getting a nice low-fat dairy. So low-fat milk, low-fat yogurt, all of these things will help build your bones and muscles and also keep you feeling nice and full. Vitamins and minerals too, everything, all the good foods, full of them. So let's chat about everyday foods versus sometimes foods that are floating around the edges. Everyday foods are foods that fit perfectly in MyPlate. Let's think of a few. How about some fruits? Bananas, apples, and grapes? Yeah, I think those fit well there. Vegetables? Carrots, broccoli, potatoes? Yeah, those seem to fit well. Grains, bread, rice, pasta, yeah. Protein, chicken, fish, eggs. Dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt, those all seem to fit this puzzle pretty well. But what if I asked you where you'd put a cookie? Well, a cookie a lot of times is made from flour, so maybe we'd put it in the grain group? But is that something that you should be eating every day as part of your grains group? No, I don't think so. What about ice cream? Well, technically it seems like it would fit the best up with dairy. But is ice cream the dairy product you should choose to have at every meal? Oh gosh, no, I don't think so. So we consider those foods sometimes foods. Of course they're okay to have, but just sometimes. Not for every single meal, and maybe not even every single day. So our sometimes foods float around on the outside and we use them sparingly, or sometimes, and our everyday foods fit perfectly on MyPlate. All right, now that we are experts on MyPlate, what makes a healthy meal and what types of food we should put into our body, let's get cooking. First, we need to wash our hands. So I'm going to show you the best way to wash your hands, especially when we need to be careful of all the germs that are out there. Washing your hands is one of the best ways to prevent illness, foodborne illness, and all those icky things that we don't want. So let's go wash our hands. All right, let's talk about washing our hands. So we need to get our hands wet. If you have any jewelry or anything on your wrist, please slide it up. So get your hands nice and wet. That is step number 1. Step number 2 is get yourself some soap. Once you have that soap, you need to move that water out of the way and you need to scrub. So we are going to do a nice big sweep all around. And then follow with me. We are going to go in between our fingers. We are going to get the backs of our hands, and we're creating friction right now, and we're getting all those icky germ particles off with that friction. We are then going to put those fingertips together again and just rub, rub, rub together. Don't forget your thumbs. Really grab each thumb and give it a good wash. Most important part, save the best for last. Get those fingertips. Scratch at your palms to make sure you are cleaning under those fingernails, and those fingertips, that's doing a lot of the touching when we're cooking. And then I like to do another final sweep around. Bring that water back, and hopefully that water is lukewarm to hot, whatever you can stand. And you are going to give a good rinse, a little bit onto your arms as well. Really, really give a good rinse. Get all those germs off again. Create that friction. That friction is what really gets those germs off those hands. Wash your hands whenever you're in public. Wash your hands all the time. So this took me 1 minute and 20 seconds to show you how to wash my hands. It shouldn't take you that long. It's about a 20-second process, start to finish, or happy birthday 2 times. The next thing I'm going to teach you is knife skills. We have lots of knives to choose from, but we need to be careful, we need to be safe, we need to know how to use them. So if you've had this class with me before, we've done this, but it's always worth a review. Please, when you are working later to cook a meal with your family, you need to ask your parents for permission to use a knife because a lot of knives are very sharp. And if you do not feel comfortable with a regular knife, a butter knife works great. Please ask your parents before you try using any knives in the house. Got it? While we're cooking today, we will also be talking about produce washing. Why do you think it's important to wash your fruits and vegetables? Well, you're right. People touch them in the store. This particular one grew in the soil, so it's covered in dirt. Lots of reasons why you need to wash your produce. You can wash it just with your hands, and I'll show you how, or you might even have a little brush where you can do some extra scrubbing. We always wash our produce even if we don't eat the outside. Let me grab something. I'll be right back. Oh my word, that's the biggest watermelon ever. So this watermelon right here, I'll do some weightlifting real quick. All right, good. So I'm not gonna eat the outside of this, right? I don't eat watermelon rinds, but guess what? This watermelon, can you see this? It's covered in stuff. I don't even know what it is, but look, it's all over my finger. So if I take a knife and I cut through this watermelon, where does all that stuff go? You're right, it goes all over the watermelon. So even if I don't plan to eat the outside of a fruit, especially a fruit this large, I still need to wash it. Wash everything. And I'm not talking with soap. I'm just talking about a really good rinse where you're kind of scrubbing off all the debris and stuff on the fruit or vegetable. Okay? The first thing I need to do is collect all my ingredients. So I am going to use 2 large ripe mangoes, but I had frozen mango, so I don't need to wash this. It's already been washed, cut, and frozen, so now I just need to wait for it to defrost. So I won't put that in my colander. I'm going to use 1 small cucumber. I'm going to use medium green onions. It calls for 2, but I'm using a few extra because they're getting a little bit old, so I'd like to use them up. I will also be using salt and cayenne pepper. So again, not putting those in my colander. So I have my salt, I have my cayenne pepper. And then on the bottom of this recipe, it says that I can use a bell pepper. So I didn't have the jalapeno. So I'm going to use a red bell pepper, a yellow bell pepper, and I'm also going to add in the optional ingredient of cilantro. I'll be right back. I need to get my lime. Digging through the fruit bowl, looking for a lime. There it is. Don't forget to take your stickers off. All right, so in my bowl, I have all of the ingredients I am going to use except for my spices. And remember, I didn't have the jalapeno, so I'll use the cayenne pepper instead, but jalapeno makes it really, really good. Let's go wash this stuff. All right, so let's practice those knife skills. Please remember, ask a parent at home if you can use the knife, and also feel free to use a butter knife if that is easier for you, or do this with a family member, not by yourself. Remember, we always use a bear claw. When we are holding the fruit or vegetable, we make sure that we don't have our fingertips exposed. If I had my fingertips exposed and I went to cut, I'm likely going to cut a finger. But if I have a bear claw and I cut down, I might just graze the knuckle with the side of the knife and it wouldn't cut me. So we use our bear claw on our non-dominant hand. We use our dominant hand to cut the fruit or vegetable. We have to make sure that we cut to get a flat surface because this thing's rolling everywhere. So if I cut and it slips, that's a recipe for a disaster. So let's find a way to make a flat surface. This is how I like to cut peppers. I like to cut down right here, down the top, and I use that downward sawing motion. Remember, you didn't see me just push. I did a downward sawing motion all the way through that pepper. What's really cool about this method for cutting is you don't waste any pepper. This part, the stem, I can just put to the side, but I can still use all of this. What I'll do is I will take the inner core out of the pepper and I'll get any extra seeds out of here that I don't want. And it's okay if there's a few seeds left over. And now I have a flat surface. This is no longer going to roll anywhere. So what I'll do from here is I'll cut using my bear claw in a downward sawing motion, and I will create more flat surfaces. So now this one's a little tippy since it's tall. Let's put it onto its flat side here. Sometimes with peppers it can be tricky like this, and you might end up having to flip it over and secure it, but you can try whichever way works for you. I want all of my pieces to be nice and small. Like I said, this way looks like it's going to be too difficult. So let's turn it even though it's not a flat surface, and let's very carefully cut strips. And I'd like them to be nice and small. That way when I'm eating my salsa, I get all of the flavors mixed in really well together, and I don't just get huge chunks of certain vegetables, I get everything together. So I cut strips like that. The way I like to do it is I like to turn the whole pile, use my bear claw, I get it nice and even, and I like to cut this way now. And look at all these little itty bitty pieces I'm getting. This is called dicing. When you dice, you get all the same sized pieces.